How do you make a one-block quilt?
We're going to show you how. Keep watching.
Hi, it's Donna Robertson.
And Fran Morgan with Fabric Café.
Well, we're really excited that we just published our brand new one-block 3-yard quilt books. And it is everything you've grown to love about 3-yard quilts and more.
Yes, I totally agree. So what do we mean by a one-block quilt? Well, basically we mean that every quilt, each of the 8 quilts in the book, are made with a single block. So we've made them over and over again, which is kind of like quilting muscle memory there, so that you kind of get in the routine and in the zone of exactly what you're doing. Now, there is a couple of the quilts that are made with a little bit different fabric placement. It's the exact same construction of the block. We're just switching those fabrics out. So it's super easy.
And today we're going to take it another step, and we're going to show you how to make some of the blocks. We're going to have pieces and parts, and we know how you like those. Yes. And then to add to that, we're going to show you how to use other fabrics to switch out the look. And at that point, you get to see quilt images.
Absolutely, so fun.
I know. Let's get started.
All right.
Now we're going to talk about Tumbler today. This is, of course, a one block, and we were explaining that it's a unit that we've put together, and then we make a great big block. So when you get through making this block, you've made 6 blocks, and voila, you've got your quilt finished. Let's put that on the table and talk about it. Okay, on this one, it's a lot of fun because you're going to be making units, and the units are then put together into one big block. So let me show you how to make your units. Okay. To start off with, we're going to make a half square triangle using the red and the white.
Super simple.
Super, super simple. I'm going to turn this a little sideways here. All right, and then we're going to place a strip along one edge here, and then we're going to place the other strip along this side. Okay. And you can see how that comes together in this particular block.
Super simple. That's very easy.
Now, we're going to show you the finished blocks because that really does, are the finished units that look like a block.
Yes.
It's kind of interesting, but you could say that about any unit, that it
right.
looks like a block. So we are going to make that one. We're going to rotate, so see that's exactly the same thing. We're going to rotate it and put it right up here. And then we're going to do the same basic thing using, here we use the red and the white, we're going to use the blue and the white with the red. And that is going to go here. And as you sew these together, and you know, as we tell you often, we've left the seam allowances on these, so if we were to assemble it completely, then it would look just like this, and all of those seam allowances would magically be on the inside.
That is so awesome. I love it.
It's about as easy as it can get, isn't it?
It really is simple. And you know, we mentioned earlier that, you know, you make these units, or a block and a block here is what you had mentioned before. You kind of get that system going, so you kind of make this assembly line and you get going, and it makes it really easy. So.
And I like it because you've said many times it's an efficiency too, because if you learn how to do something, you get more and more efficient as you go along. It's almost like your brain comes up with shortcuts, and you can go off in la-la land while you're making all those blocks.
That is so true. And in this case, I would probably go in and make all of the red half square triangles first and do all those units, and then go and do the blues, because it's all just that memory again. So it makes it easy. And you know what's really cool? It makes it even easier to make a twin or a king, because you've already got that zone, that rhythm going, and you'll just knock it out in no time. And of course, every pattern in our one block book has those instructions for the twin and the king queen here. Sorry, I lost my tongue there. So, and it makes it really, really simple. So you're just making extra blocks and you're already in the rhythm.
Yes.
So.
And then when we start singing that song, I've got rhythm.
Oh. Do we have to sing again?
I always say life is just a musical.
Of course.
Okay, so the fabric for this one is the #1 fabric, is this great red, white, and blue. And that's going to be everywhere you see the red in the quilt. And then in the number 2 fabric will be going here, and that is your background, so you can actually see your block going on
it's
here.
fun.
And then the number 3 is the blue, and the blue is going in those spots. Now this one is called Starburst. It's 8023251. Tumbler is the name of the pattern, and it's in the 1 block 3-yard quilt book. The alternate pattern is through the window again. We wanted to show you what it would look like if we made this same quilt out of these fun little summery flowers. Isn't that sweet?
They are so sweet. They are fun.
They're happy flowers.
They are.
And so this is going to be our number 1. And remember what I just said, you pick out your focus and you get to decide what your focus fabric is. It's usually the fabric that's going to be shown in a focus type position, so you'll see it whenever you look at the quilt. Then you're going to take your number 2 fabric, and that will be the white in this case. And then I like the way the white really makes this pop with that little bit of white that's in the background.
Yes.
And then
absolutely.
the number 3 is your blue flower.
And you know, this is a double focus.
Well, that's true. I hadn't thought about that.
So what a great pattern for a double focus fabric.
Absolutely. So now let's look at how this looks when it's made up in the quilt. See the image on the screen?
Oh, it's darling.
It is precious. I love it, love it, love it. And you know what I would do whenever I quilted this one, or had it quilted if you're taking it to a long arm quilter? I would pick a color thread.
Oh,
Like
yes.
a variegated would be gorgeous. And then it would cause that number 2 fabric to really have a little bit more interest in it. And this is the perfect quilt for that.
Yeah.
So I like to always tell the long arm quilter when we have larger areas of the white, we'll tell them to put a little bit of color in there with those variegated
And
threads.
it adds so much dimension. Love that idea. You're so full of good ideas.
Oh, you're so sweet. Now this one is called Sweet Daisies. It's 8023057. Tumbler is the name of the pattern that we're going to use on this one, and it's from the book 1 Block 3-Yard Quilt. And the Park Place pattern is our recommendation for an alternative.
Now the next quilt that we're going to look at is called Memories, and this one's really a lot of fun because it's kind of these neat little squares that looks like it has a ribbon woven through it. So let's put it on the table and look at those pieces and parts and just how simple this was to put together. Now this is a really fun one, and it's a little bit different than I think what we normally do. But I think it's cool because it's like these neat little pieces that are woven with fabric, the way that it looks and the way that it's made. Now this is a super simple block. It's all made with strip piecing, and we've got some pieces and parts that we want to show you, which is awesome.
All right.
So we're going to show you how this is put together. So it's all strip pieces. So let me organize my strips here so that you can go along with me. So we have our strip piece unit, which is basically 5 strips. We have our number 3 and our number 2 fabric. And of course we're repeating them, just sewing them in those long strips, super easy. And then we're going to come and we're going to cut some units off. And you know how I like to say you're just slicing a piece of pizza off, you know, just boom. And so we're making these. Now these are our outside edges here. So I'm going to lay them on my block. So it's going to go right here on the outside, and then we've got another one right here on the outside. Now let's build the good stuff in the middle. So that's one strip piece. Now the next strip piece is simply 3 strips of fabric. And we've got our number 2 fabric here, our lighter with the floral, and then our number 1, our great blue texture, sewn together in a strip piece. And then once again, we're going to cut a unit off. Now for each block, we're going to make 2 of these. So I'm going to lay these down. Now here's our original side strip, and then here is the next one, and then we've got our second one right here. Now, we do still have our seam allowances on this, so that's the reason why it looks a little crowded on there. All right, we have one more strip piece unit. Very simple. All right, you know, these are long. And so here we have our 3rd strip piece unit. And you know these go really fast, so don't get too overwhelmed with it because this is super fast. Now, after you do this strip assembly, you're just going to once again slice off a piece, and then this is our very, very center, and it will be placed here. So very simple, very easy to do. And I have a finished block here, just like that. Now this block is made over and over again, like we've said, and all we've done is just rotate them. So like this one goes kind of horizontal, this one is turned vertical, so it gives you that kind of nice offset kind of look, which is kind of fun. I really, really like it.
Well, it makes it look really woven.
It really, really does. And you know, this fabric is interesting because, you know, normally we say put the largest print and the big bold print in your #1 position. But in this case, I decided to go with more of a texture, and I think it worked really well.
Oh, I think so too.
So
it makes the perfect background.
It really, really has this neat look, so that whenever we put our #2 fabric on there, it almost looks like this was like a wall and you've tucked little pieces of specialness into ribbons. So that's kind of what I wanted the look to be like. So I think it turned out really cool. So the #2 does have our floral on it, and it is on the border of all those blocks. And then our #3, a fun stripe. And I love using a stripe in a pattern, and in this case it just works so well because it gives us that extra movement.
Yes.
So much fun, so much fun. Okay, the kit information on this one, it is called a Sunnyside, and the number is 8023252. The quilt pattern is Memories from the 1 Block 3-Yard Quilt Book, and the alternate pattern that we are suggesting is Gallery. This is gorgeous, and what a perfect pattern to put a fall fabric in, because it kind of has that fall basket kind of a feel and look, which I think is really cool. So in this case, we have this beautiful jade with the autumn leaves on it and all of the gorgeous colors. This will be in this position here, where our blue is. So I think it's really gonna pop well. And then our background is this nice, yummy kind of, oh, it's like a creamy peach or something, almost like peaches and cream.
Ooh.
So it's kind of, it's not quite a gold, but it's not really an orange. It's kind of right in the middle with a lot of movement. This is gonna be everywhere the white is on this quilt. And then this really fun kind of basket weave look, and look how great that looks with that. It picks up all of the oranges in the leaves.
Well, let's not keep them guessing any longer.
Oh.
Let's show them an image.
Okay, this image is fabulous, and I think that this turned out so cute. And you can see how the focus fabric, that jade blue, really pops off the surface with all of those ribbons of orange woven through it. I just think it looks fabulous.
It does, and it's so much fun to be able to see these quilts made up in different fabrics, because any 3 yards of fabric will work with any one of our patterns. Do you know that you will be able to get the book free if you buy 3 kits?
Yes.
So be sure to do that, because then you have 8 patterns in 3 different sizes, and you are going to love this book.
Yes, I think you will. So let's get them this kit information, because this is a darling kit. This is called Simply Fall, and the number is 8022512. The pattern is called Memories from our 1 Block 3-Yard Quilt Book, and the alternate pattern that we're suggesting is Simply Strips.
Now the next fun pattern is Crosswalk, and Crosswalk is going to be one that we can put together, and you make the 1 block and then you make the same block again, and you just have a different colorway going on with that second block. So let's put that on the table. Okay, this one is really fun. It's got lots of great angles to it.
Yes, it
and
does.
you know, depending on the fabric that you select, you might make this one for a guy even.
Oh, good idea, yeah.
And we do have another quilt to show you in a different colorway, but before that, let's do some block building with our pieces and parts, and then be sure to keep watching, because we're going to have an image up there with the secondary fabric. Okay, let's put that one right over here. We're going to build this block first, and this is such a super simple block. It is just simply your strip piecing like this. You're going to take that and you're going to create a unit by sewing 2 strips together. You're going to cut off your pizza, as you like to say. Pizza.
I'm a pizza girl, okay?
Right. And then we're going to take that particular block and we're going to, that unit, and put it right here.
Okay.
And I'm going to pass that along to you. Then we're going to place this piece on the other side, just like that. Now that's just about as super simple as it can get.
Certainly is.
Now we're going to take this strip and we're going to sew it on one side, and we do this on the bottom like so. And there is your basic block that we've gotten started, the center of the basic block. Then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to place a strip here. So in essence, you made this unit here, and then you will put 2 colors on one side and then the 2 colors on the other side.
You know, that is so clever because it's almost like you're building it one direction and then you go, okay, that's good. Let's turn it around and do it on the other side.
That was so much fun.
It was so much fun. Let's do it again on the other. That's so clever, but it makes such great movement and pattern on the quilt top to do it that way. I think it's super.
It just gives it that interest because you could have made a block that had this on both sides, but it would be a little boring.
Yeah, I agree. We've seen that. We've done that, right? We want not boring.
Now, here it is all finished. So we're going to take that block all
so
finished
cute.
and place it here, and you can see what a sweet,
Oh my
sweet
goodness.
quilt
That is
this is
so
going
cute.
to be.
Yes.
Now, we're going to do exactly the same thing for the secondary block, which would be the ones with the kitties here and here. So that is your strip piecing that you do for that. And then I've just finished that block off so that you can see how it looks. It's exactly the same one block made just by utilizing your colors in a different spot.
Perfect.
So that's a great way to put
So
together.
simple.
Super, super simple to do. Okay, let's look at the fabric on this one.
It's
It's
so
not
cute.
cute.
And I like the kitties and balls of yarn and all the flowers. And the kitties themselves are flowered. I like that.
And you know, do you remember the purple cow story about the little boy that was drawing the purple cow, and he showed his teacher, and she said, now Johnny, I've never seen a purple cow. And he's like, well, I'm so sorry. So if you haven't seen a purple cat before, I'm so sorry. These are just so cute.
They are so precious.
Okay, so this is the #1 fabric, and it's going to be here in the #1 spots. And then we also have it out on the border. Isn't that
Cute.
fun, the way it's out on the border? Yes. And then we have our #2. I was wondering if these are little cat scratches.
It's
Yeah.
very possible. Or it could be grass since they are in the flower garden.
Well, they are. And my little cats can get, they can bury their nose in that grass looking for something exciting.
Oh my goodness.
And then that's our #2 fabric, which creates that background so that you can really see the design. The #3 fabric is this precious pink paw, and it has a little heart right in the middle of their
it's
little
so
paw.
cute.
It's so sweet.
They go so well together. What a fun quilt.
It's a fun quilt. It's fun fabric. So this one is 8023249 Garden Cats. Crosswalk is the name of the pattern, and it's from our new book, 1 Block 3-Yard Quilts. An alternate pattern would be porch rails. And this is some fun fabric made by Voila.
Yes, I like this fabric so
Yes,
much.
this is Fran's designed fabric called Flower Power.
Yes.
And it is just so fun. I got so excited when she was showing me her first illustrations of her fabrics, and I love it. I love the multicolored stripe, and that is going to look so good in the quilt. So we've got the #1 position, and then our #2 position is the light. And when it comes to picking out fabrics, you know, if you've ever had trouble picking out fabrics, those days are gone. Just pick a focus fabric, a light and a dark, and you can go to town making a quilt. And these are great. I can see these like bubbles and the cat's chasing them.
Yes.
And then the #3 fabric is your border on the quilt. And if you don't believe this is going to be a fun quilt, look at this image.
It is
Isn't
fun.
that great? And go ahead.
This, I mean, I can see some, like a teenage boy maybe even having this, or a guy being able to have this quilt. I just think that it works so well.
Yes, it's really nice. And I like the way it turned out with that stripe. That gets that little extra movement in there.
Yes, the stripe does.
This one is called Bubble Trouble, 8023136. Crosswalk is the pattern from the 1 Block 3-Yard Quilt book. And the alternate pattern that we would recommend is chain reaction.
So this quilt is Jewels, and you know, this is one of my favorites out of the book, but you know, one of my favorites, because I have a lot of favorites, because these are the best quilts ever. Now the reason why I love Jewels, of course, it's a one block, that's the starting point, but it also creates this really cool like secondary pattern on the surface of the quilt, which I think is very striking. And of course I named it Jewels because it's like a faceted jewel here, and that's a nice big diamond, isn't it? And you know how girls love diamonds. So let's put it on the table. We got some great pieces and parts for you. Okay, so this is such a striking quilt, and it's really easy to put together. It's a little deceiving because you think that it's going to be so much more complicated than it is, but it really isn't, as all the quilts are in our one block book, of course.
Right.
So let's show how this is done. It's just amazing. So what we have here is we have a rectangle sewn to a half square triangle. Very simple.
Easy peasy.
Okay, so I'm going to place that right here. All right. Then our next unit is a half square triangle and 2 squares. Okay.
Okay.
That's our middle stuff. We're going to put that down right next to our first part. So we have 3 units in this block. Our next block is 2 half square triangles with a square in the middle.
This is like a designer 9 patch.
It kind of is. Yes, it kind of is. That makes sense. So now this is the 3rd unit in our block, and it is going to go right here. And
I love that block.
it's just, it's cool. It's basically, I think what happened is the placement of the colors created this great movement, and it's just so much fun. So we've got this one. Now I have one, thank you. Have one made up here. I'm just going to put right on top so we can see it all stitched up. And I need to turn it the right way because I don't want to mess up that cool design that it's going to make, which is kind of fun. I like that it makes this secondary pattern kind of on the quilt. We've got the square, the diamond. It's so very cool. And then this one here. Now this block is made exactly the same. The only thing we've done is we've used the white in this corner instead of the blue. And then in the center we've got our blue and our floral, and in this one we have our blue and our number 2. So we've just shifted the color placement just a little bit, just to add that extra interest and punch, and also to give us that amazing, cool pattern. That's what I loved about it. Whenever I finished it, I was like, ooh, secondary pattern. That's my favorite ones to do. All right, this fabric is gorgeous. And of course, you know I love blue and yellow. I don't know why I always gravitate to that, but if I'm going to do a floral, it's probably going to be a blue and yellow. So it's just, to me, it's nostalgic because those are the colors that I think I grew up with a little bit or something. Those blue and yellow flowers, and
Yeah.
I like them. They're very sentimental.
When you were born, I had a blue and yellow sofa.
Is that what it was?
I did.
It's all due to that sofa. Now I know where it came from.
A big blue and yellow floral sofa.
Was it as beautiful
I was
as
styling.
You were?
Yeah, it was. It was very pretty.
But this is gorgeous, and I think it works so well in this to add that extra interest. So our number 2 is this nice creamy white here, a little bit of an off-white, but I love it because it has a little woven texture to it. It gives us a little bit of dimension without overpowering, because we need the contrast in this in order to see it. But absolutely lovely. And then our really luxurious yummy blue here. And that blue is what's giving us our pop, and it's really helping the other 2 fabrics to stand out. So that's kind of its job. It supports the other 2, which is great. And the name of this kit is Summer Breeze. The number is 8023248. The pattern is Jewels from our one block 3-yard quilt book. And the alternate pattern that we're suggesting is Snowball. This is gorgeous. Now, I'm going to say, Hannah pulls a lot of these kits. I'm just going to say it. Hannah pulls a lot of kits for us, and she matches a lot of things. And we work together, but Hannah usually does the initial pull, and this was brilliant. I just love this pattern in a Christmas fabric. Never thought of that when I was designing it, but it's amazing. I've got an image, you're going to see it in just a minute. It's great. So what we've got here is our number one fabric as the red, and it's going to go everywhere the floral is here. And then we have this great, it's a white and green. This green pattern has all of this great movement with the circles. This fabric also has just a smidge of iridescence to it. So it catches the light ever so slightly to give you that glow. So it's not like a metallic, but it does have that iridescence, which is very, very cool.
It catches the light.
It does. It's so neat. So this is going to go everywhere the white is here. And then our number 3 fabric is this green. Now, this is so cool. The green and the red for Christmas just work so well together. The green is going to go everywhere the blue is. And when we put all 3 of these together in this quilt pattern, let me tell you, it is striking. So let's look at it because it's striking. So I love the Christmas feel of this.
I do too. And you know, it's interesting because with the yellow and blue, it doesn't create the same dynamic as it does with these base colors of red and green.
Yes.
It really does change that quilt up a little bit.
And what kind of a modern chic kind of Christmas.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, it's just amazing. So absolutely love this one. I was just blown away. Let me get you the kit information because you probably love it as much as me. This is called Holiday Jewels. The number is 8022531. And the pattern is Jewels from our 1 Block 3 Yard quilt book. And an alternate pattern that would be equally as great is Dash. Now we have 4 other quilts in the book that you didn't see in this video. But if you want to check out all of the quilts, all 8 of them, be sure and check out our video up here because we're featuring them all.
That's right. And the book is available now on fabriccafe.com. So be sure to go over and get that. And if you want it free, buy 3 kits and you'll get the book free.
It's Fran Morgan
and Donna Robertson. Thanks for watching.